Ketterhagen. Good morning. This is Don Ketterhagen, Dr. Don on Demand, broadcasting here from our home office in Punta Gorda, Florida. Today we're going to talk about the steps one needs to take in order to proceed along a path to good health. I think most importantly, one needs to figure out where they're starting from. Unless you're a newborn, you've had some influences over the time between then and now. I know I did, and so I'm going to try and kind of set some basics for you, give you some pointers about the things that I think are going to be helpful to you, and then in the coming weeks and months, we're going to go ahead with more. So essentially, we'll get to the what me worry part a little bit later. I hope you're able to see this, and we're going to go ahead and start the slides at the beginning is usually a really good idea. So first things first, and I apologize, I want to make sure that the screen share is actually going to show what is up there. So we'll pick this one, and we will go ahead and bring that up. Good. This is what I was talking about. We're going to try and figure out how we get from where we are now and forget about all the other stuff that's happened to us. But we want to start here and hopefully get to there. So we're going to try and do an honest assessment of where we are today based on a number of important things. There are three of them to look at. Three important areas to look at when we're trying to determine where we are. And those are essentially your family history. Take a look at your parents. Take a look at your brothers and sisters. Maybe take a look at the grandparents. Pull out the genealogy, if you will. But you need to know what's in your family history. Not because that's going to happen to you for certain, but that it may be there in your genetic makeup waiting for some influence, whether it's environment or other factors, to influence that genetic makeup. And from there, we're going to go ahead and try and prepare, try and modify, try and make sure that you don't repeat the past. The other thing that is important here is your lifestyle. If your lifestyle is poor, that's the second factor that influences where you're going to get to in your journey for health. If you have a poor lifestyle and you have a poor family history, you're in trouble. And so this is another area and one of the areas that you can influence. The family history, your genetic makeup, not so much. Your lifestyle, a lot. And your incentive to be healthy, very important. So let's take a look at your family history. By this I mean the immediate family, your parents and your grandparents. Are your parents still alive? If they are, you're lucky, and I hope they're healthy. But if they're not, try and spend some time with them, getting to understand what the challenges they've been going through have been. They may live far away, and you may actually feel uncomfortable talking with your parents about their diseases in a non-judgmental kind of way, and in a way that is more for your benefit than for theirs, so they don't feel like you're trying to tell them what to do. But you want to learn from them what they've gone through and what kind of medications they've taken, what kind of medications didn't work, okay? And if they're deceased, you want to know, of course, what was the major cause of death? Why did your parents die? Was it a result of an accident, for example? Or did they have heart disease, a heart attack, a stroke, cancer of any kind, some other disease, an autoimmune disease? All of these things are really important. You want to look at your brothers and sisters that are deceased or alive, especially if they're younger and have passed away. What in the world influenced them that didn't perhaps influence you? You know, did they have a different lifestyle? Did they not take care of themselves? Did they not care? So on and so forth. And like with your parents and grandparents, if you're able, you want to find out the health issues that may be affecting them. So take a look at your parents, get the family history. The next area is important, very important. The lifestyle is poor. There are three obvious lifestyle issues that we're going to cover in later hangouts that are very important. The obvious three are your weight, your blood pressure, and your blood work. By your weight, you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror, frankly. You know, and if you've got that abdominal fat hanging over your belt, or if you've got a triple chin that's full, not just a triple chin that sags like mine because we're old, but if you've got a big full triple chin, you probably, I hate to tell it to you this way, but you probably need to lose some weight. So weight, number one. Oftentimes going along with that is a blood pressure that's not where it ought to be. They've been changing the blood pressure recommendations. The old standard is a good place to start till they figure out what they really want you to have your blood pressure to be at. But 140 over 90 used to be, and for many is still the baseline. Anything above means hypertension, anything below needs medical attention. Okay, the third obvious three is blood work. The blood work that I think you ought to take a look at revolves around the diabetic obesity relationship and the diabetic epidemic that's going around these days. So fortunately, that may have peaked, but that doesn't matter if it's peaked and you haven't. So you want to try and find out what your blood sugar may be, your hemoglobin A1C. You might want to check your blood work as it relates to your cholesterol panel. These can all be obtained. If you look on our website, you don't even need a doctor's order in many of the states to go and get your blood work checked. So look on our site and go and get some blood work done. It comes back to you with normal guidelines. It gives you the range of normal. And so if it comes back and you're not in the range of normal, you probably need to go see somebody and ask them what they mean. This site is not meant to diagnose, treat, or prevent any diseases. We're just trying to direct you to where you need to go. The not so obvious three are your environment, your physical environment. There's three areas in there that we're going to touch on. Do you smoke or chew? What's the latest on the vapor inhalers? What influence on your health are they starting to have? So we're going to explore those in a future blog too. So by all means, the number one thing you can do: if you smoke, stop. If you chew, stop. If you need help with that, make an appointment to see me online, and we'll talk about some strategies for you in that area. The second area in the not so obvious is your social environment. There is no way that you can lead a stressful life and be healthy. It won't happen. You don't sleep well, you don't exercise well, and most importantly, you don't give your body the 6 to 8 to 9 hours of sleep that it needs in order to recharge. So the social environment involving your ability to sleep is extremely important. Your job or career is extremely important. That can lead to stress. Your self-image is also a not so obvious cause of poor health. You know, if you think you're fat and ugly, to you, you're fat and ugly. If you think you're in good shape, when you look yourself in the eye in the mirror, that man in the mirror tells you, you know, you could use a little more exercise. You know, you probably are eating too much. You know, you look darn tired this morning. I think you need to be planning a little better nighttime rest, or at least get the hours of sleep that you really need. Another not so obvious area in the social environment, we talked about the physical environment, and I didn't finish with that. Those obvious three were to stop smoking and make certain that your air environment, your physical air environment is pure. If you haven't changed your air filters in 6 months, probably you're not breathing as clean a air environment in your house as it should be. Many times folks will recommend that if the air outside their home is not polluted, and sometimes it is, so this isn't really a great idea if it is, but down here in Florida, open your windows. Don't live in a closed box. The materials used in constructing homes sometimes release vapors in the air that are toxic. So you need to blow those out of the house by opening a window every once in a while. So get clean air, stop smoking, and a third area in the obvious three is to drink pure water. By that I mean you may want to consider bottled water and using a plastic or metal container, or better yet, a glass container, so that the water that has been filtered into that container does not contain any leaching out of the PVC or the BCP that comes from, and I may have that wrong, but the plastic in a lot of the bottled water gets into the water, and that is certainly a problem if it's toxic. We purchased some very cheap water back when we were stocking water for the possible hurricane this fall, and we use that water now to wash things, because you can taste the plastic in the water. So if you can taste the plastic in your water, you know, use it somewhere else. Use it to wash your face, flush the toilet, something else, because you don't want to be putting whatever's giving that water the bad taste into your body. So the obvious things I mentioned: stop smoking, breathe clean air, and drink pure water. In the social environment, I started to talk about getting enough sleep, getting enough rest. Is your job stressful? If you hate your job, it's hard to be healthy. So try and find out what factors at work may be stressing you out, and if they are, try and change those. Move to a different department, get a different manager, different boss, get a different job. At some point in time, that job is going to kill you. So whether it does it now or does it later, get yourself into a career, a job that isn't stressful to you. Again, we were talking a while back about your self-image. You need to feel good about yourself. If you look in the mirror, as I was saying, and don't like what you see, well, there's a good place to change what you don't like, because you can see it. It's there staring you right in the face in the morning. So improve your self-image. If it takes a diet program, if it takes an exercise program, if it takes counseling with a counselor to work on the areas of your life and your past history that give you a bad self-image, these can all be obtained or referred to. And finally, we've got the relationship three, and we've kind of talked about those, but one of the other areas in the not so obvious three that I failed to mention is supplements. If you have any health issues, you need to be taking a non-GMO natural supplement. Many of the things that you do in your blood work will give you some idea. If your thyroid is low, for example, you probably need thyroid supplement. If you're anemic, you may need, if you're an older person, you may not be absorbing B12, or if you've had surgery, abdominal surgery, you may not be absorbing B12. So these are all things that you ought to consider in terms of disease that may be ongoing. Maybe you need some supplements. So those are the main areas that I wanted to touch on. The third area is the what me worry. And I don't know what happened to my smiley face here. Ah, he's coming up now. What? Everything's going to be all right. Well, maybe if you're a skydiver, maybe you are doing something that's too dangerous for the training that you've had. I'll tell you a brief story about my one and only skydiving experience. I've always wanted to do it. I've got two brothers that have done it and they love it. So I figured I'd love it too. Well, I did. I loved it all the way through the training. I loved it all the way through getting the gear on. I loved it all the way to getting into the airplane. And I loved the airplane flight up. It was beautiful. This was over California. And I loved jumping out of the plane. You know, why jump out of a perfectly good flying airplane? Well, I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane and went down just fine. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was exhilarating. And it really got exhilarating when the chute didn't open on my first tandem jump. So we're not doing that again. But anyway, so take a look at the sports, the activities. How do you drive? Do you drive like a crazy person? If you do, that's probably not a good idea. So we're going to end this right about here because my phone's going crazy. We're also periscoping this, and it'll be available both on Twitter and also on YouTube. So this is Dr. Don signing off. I look forward to working with you in the future and covering some of those points that we talked about. So have a good day and be healthy.